I wasn't going to go down another rabbit hole until I had finished some projects, but here we are. Giza, the pyramids, ancient Egypt, some of the most mysterious topics. This notebook contains my thoughts on these subjects, as well as a possible one world civilization that influenced and connected every continent. Pyramids, art, stories. Could it have been Atlantis? But this TikTok, this theory, was the spark that combined my research into so much more.
But remember, azimuthal maps have to have a centre point, and someone wanted to test the theory that the centre point of the Peri-Reis map was the pyramids of Giza. Guess what, it works. If this theory is correct, and the ancient map that the Peri-Reis map was based on had Giza at the centre, and they could accurately project out from there, this adds a lot of weight to the argument that those map makers had a methods or a means of mapping accurate longitude. Now, this is really impressive because accurate longitude wasn't a thing until a few hundred years after.
The TikTok is actually a two-part, but we're looking at the second part, discussing the different types of maps. There's Mercator projection maps and an azimuthal map that uses a center point such as the North Pole. From that center point outward, the map begins to distort and skew the farther you get away from that center point. Now, knowledge of latitude and longitude wasn't very detailed until the 1600s, and the Piri-Reis map was created in 1513. They used older source maps, suggesting that there was some sort of knowledge of latitude and longitude before that time. It also suggests that somebody was mapping the globe before Christopher Columbus made it to the Americas. The Piri-Reis map itself. There's two main theories. One is that it's a representation of Antarctica before it was covered in ice. And the other theory is that it's Africa and South America, but badly skewed. While Piri-Reis was creating the map, he used a handful of other source maps that are now lost to time. But this theory from TikTok suggests that Giza was used as a center point for the Piri-Reis map, and also the center of the world. I once read that Giza was used as a prime meridian before the Greenwich standard that we know today. A prime meridian is a zero longitude, which is basically like a vertical equator, splitting Earth into two equal halves. I've always wondered why Giza? Why not the quarry for the stones to make it easier? Or literally anywhere else? Many civilizations saw themselves as the center of the world. But what happens if we move the prime meridian back to Giza? This is where things get so interesting. And no, I didn't just take information from the internet and use it. I fact checked it the best I could. When Giza is the prime meridian or the zero longitude, it does a few different things. Giza is located on the 29.5 degree north latitude. So let's move to 120 degrees west of Giza as the prime meridian. It's the Mississippi River Delta. At 90 degrees east, the Yangtze River Delta. Three river deltas on oddly geometrical degrees. The Egyptians counted on base 12, and the Sumerians counted on base 60. This is why we have 360 degrees, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, or two 12-hour half days. 0, 90, 120 degrees. We have a few different numbers to make a sequence here. So I started looking. 30 degrees, nothing significant. 60 degrees, specifically 60 degrees west, off the coast of Africa. The middle of the Atlantic Ocean, the Azores Islands. It's a sunken landmass, and it's a suggested location for the Great Lost City, Atlantis. Some old maps depict Atlantis off the coast of Africa in a huge landmass between Africa and the Americas, exactly where these islands are. Possibly coincidental, I'll give you that, but I kept looking. Giza's at zero longitude, our new prime meridian, and about 30 degrees north latitude. So what's at 00? The source of the Nile, Lake Victoria, which also goes by other names. Now Ubail, the mother of gods. In Arabic, Ukiriwi, which I actually found one odd translation that meant the rapture, but I only found it once. This area in Africa is seen as the birthplace of the human race. 00, the center, the birthplace. The Garden of Eden, a link that connects all people. The biblical birthplace of the world. If Atlantis had a river delta, it would line up 4 rivers. The 4 rivers of Eden. It's a bit of a stretch, yes, but very interesting concept. Most common Eden locations are believed to be in Turkey or southern Iraq. They revolve around the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. But these locations lack the other two rivers that are mentioned in the Bible concerning Eden. There are some theories that the other two rivers were lost after the Great Flood, or that Eden was taken to heaven after man was kicked out, or even that Eden is in Antarctica, as depicted by this map. Now, if Giza is the center of the world, then the Great Pyramid is the compass aligning the Earth. While the pyramid might have had other uses, as many theories suggest, it was precisely built, with the corners pointing to cardinal directions within 1/15th of a degree. Corridors within the pyramid line up with the North Star and Orion's belt, increasing its mysterious coordinations with earthly alignments. And while we're on the topic of the pyramid as a compass, I came across this picture of the Great Pyramid with the Nile River Delta, the compass of the world, and the depiction of a square level, or a framing square. Compass and square, two tools used in geometry and the construction of the Great Pyramids, that were built by the greatest masons in the world. The square and compasses, the Freemasons? That's a bit of a stretch, but it's still pretty interesting, and that picture definitely reminded me of it. So was Giza the center of the world? Was the pyramid actually used as a compass? If you keep searching, you can always find things that line up. You can always find coincidences. But how many of those coincidences do you need to add up to something that's real? Mount Everest lies close to the 30 North Line, the Marianas Trench, the Bermuda Triangle. What seems to be so important about 30 degrees north and Giza? Why Giza?